So it's kind of turning into personal development week here at Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And honestly, why not? Because this is the first full week of 2022. And this is like at the beginning of the year is often where we kind of recalibrate ourselves to achieve our biggest goals. So we use this time like that. The actual New Year's is irrelevant except for the meaning that we give to it, right? But it's become this cultural standard that we give New Year's this meaning of it's a time of rebirth, it's a time of newness, of setting the course for the next 12 months. And you can do this at any time. You absolutely can do this at any time. But this week is the time when so many of us are doing it that it's worth paying attention to and maybe helping you recalibrate a little bit so that this year in 2022, you can achieve some tremendous, amazing things. And today I want to talk to you about the 6 pillars of success from NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. I was reminded of this in a private Facebook group conversation with people who are not even in the marketing space, but it just jumped out as, hey, like this is something that's worth either being introduced to for the first time if you are not familiar with it, or being reminded of it if you are and maybe don't think about it on a consistent basis. So let's dive into the 6 pillars of success from NLP.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
So today, NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, has kind of a weird mixed reputation because there are people who treat it like these magic words for manipulation and persuasion. That like, oh, if you understand the language patterns in NLP, you're able to manipulate people and get them to do whatever you want to do outside of things that they would want to do. And number one, that's wrong. Actually, like it's a really good sales pitch for selling, get whatever you want in life through NLP, whether that's in business or relationships, whatever. It doesn't quite work that way. But the origins of NLP actually come from modeling successful people. Specifically, there were a couple people, Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, and I feel like there's one other person who I'm forgetting. That's fine. You can remind me in the comments. But basically, it was this research done into how therapists and how hypnotists actually think about the world, how they conceptualize reality, how they understand the workings of the mind, and how they communicate and create positive change in people's lives through those understandings. And so much of that was built into the NLP model that today has become kind of this mixed thing, right? But still the core of NLP was, how do we model success? How do we model success? And in the context of NLP, there are these 6 principles that that help define what it takes to be successful at whatever it is that we set our minds to. And that can be business, it can be relationships, it can be whatever, right? It can be whatever we want. These are general psychological principles talking about how the mind works and how successful people achieve their goals, so that if we model their behaviors, their thinking, we are able to achieve our goals much more effectively. So, ready for number 1? It's know your outcome. You need to know where you're going if you want to get there. When you define your outcome, the destination that you want to get to, it becomes more achievable. So whatever you want to achieve, you have to start by coming up with a clear picture of what it is that you want to achieve. And in fact, it can be even more powerful if you make it this whole 3-dimensional, 5-sensory experience of that outcome. So it's one thing to say, oh, I want my business to triple this year. It's another thing entirely to come up with a 3-dimensional picture in your head of what it looks like when your business has tripled, what actual experience, what momentary movie scene experience will be playing out at the end of the story, at the end of the movie, if right now is your beginning of your movie and this journey is how you get to that destination, what is the movie scene? What's the final scene of the movie that a director could actually film in 3 dimensions with all of the sensory experience? So is it you throwing a party? Like, you could imagine, you could start planning the party now for when we have reached 3 times business growth. We are going to have this party, and here's what it's going to feel like. Here's the space that it's going to be in. Here's like all of these things that represent the 3-dimensional. Or it could be like checking the dashboard for your business. And so you're imagining what that's like. You can see the dashboard in your head, like knowing this outcome, knowing what it is going to be like to experience the wish that you have being fulfilled is the first principle of success, the first pillar of success, the first practice of success. So you define that outcome, and the more 3-dimensional, tangible, 5-sensory definition that you give to what it's like when that is already true, the better. And so, like, if it's something different, if it's a relationship, like, what is the experience like when you are spending time in that relationship with that person? If it's going on an adventure, what can you actually imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon? Can you imagine yourself, walking down the street in New York? Can you imagine yourself sitting in a theater on Broadway? Can you imagine yourself at whatever place? Like, what outcome do you want to achieve? You have to imagine what that is like, what that experience is like in order to get there. Which brings us to number 2. Operate from a physiology and psychology of excellence. So physiology, and by the way, Tony Robbins, like if you follow Tony Robbins, this is something that he's big on. This is something like NLP is something that he started off learning NLP, and then he got so good at it that he kind of like he graduated out of class before class was over, and he went on and created his own versions of NLP. But basically it's operating on the same fundamental principles. So Tony does all these things about like getting excited, getting your energy up, and really recognizing that if you actually make your body feel good, your mind will often follow it. And so operating from a physiology and psychology of excellence includes things like how to make your body feel as good as possible, how to make your physiology feel as good as possible, how to support positive feelings, cultivate positive feelings in yourself, doing things that make you feel empowered instead of things that bring you down or make you feel worse. This can include, taking care of some shadows in the past, taking care of some negative things in the past. And it's important not to get lost in all of the negativity. So instead of, I feel terribly out of shape, it's I'm doing things to get myself in shape. I'm doing things to create the positive environment that I want. And so it's recognizing that you're on this journey from, where you don't want to be to where you do want to be, and focusing towards where you do want to be, right? Operating from this physiology and psychology of excellence is about empowering yourself physiologically, empowering yourself emotionally, empowering yourself psychologically. Even the simple act of going through this episode and me talking about the different ways that you can make your life better, right? That you can achieve the successes that you want. You are reinforcing the psychology of excellence here. You reinforcing the emotions of success by going through content like this. So we know our outcome. We're operating from the physiology and psychology of excellence. And then this one is really simple, but it's where so many people, including myself sometimes, fall down. Take action. You have to be taking action. Without taking action, you don't get results. You need to get results. Sometimes you're going to take action and you're going to get results that you don't like. You're going to learn from that. And then you're going to take more action, hopefully, that will get you the results that you do like, that you do want. But you do need to be consistently taking action in pursuit of your goals. And it's fundamental to NLP, to this principle, to just life in general. If you want to achieve something, it's not enough to just imagine it. As much as The Secret would like you to believe that, as much as the law of attraction teachers would like you to believe that, I believe in practical manifestation. So you do imagine this end state that you want to be true, but then you have to take actions today. You have to do the small work. I talked about that yesterday. You have to do the small work that's required to get you to the big goal that you want to get to. And so take action is number 3. Number 4, and here's where we get into things that may not be as immediately obvious to the self-help set. Number 4 is use your sensory acuity. So you have to sense, you have to pay attention to what is going on around you in your life as you proceed toward your goal. So what are you noticing in yourself, in your relationships, in other people? What are you noticing in the world around you? You have to pay attention. And the reason that you have to pay attention is because you're going to ultimately have to adapt. You're going to have to change. You're going to try things. You're going to take those actions and they're not going to work. Some of them aren't, some of them are. And you have to be able to pay attention. You have to have your 5 senses turned on and tuned in so that you can recognize, like, oh, things are working as I expect them to, things are not working as I expect them to. Oh, if I really focus on my business over here, suddenly my personal life is in shambles. Or if I focus on my personal life, suddenly my business life is in shambles. And so I have to be able to pay attention to when things are working in harmony, when they're not working in harmony, when I'm getting the results that I want, when I'm not getting the results that I want, when getting the results over here leads to results that I don't want over here, etc. Right? Like you have to pay attention. You have to be constantly paying attention in order to gather the data that you need to make good decisions about the next action you're going to take in the next action. So that's number 4, use your sensory acuity. Number 5 is have behavioral flexibility. Have flexibility in general. So one of the things that I actually talked about yesterday in the small work is actually coming up with a plan that includes a long-term plan, like a year, a plan for the year, a destination you want to get to for the year, and then on a quarterly basis, this is what you need to do on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, right? When things don't work like you expect, what you're doing in quarter 3 might completely change because what you tried in quarter 1 didn't work, right? And you have to be willing to be flexible. To achieve your ultimate outcome, you might have to completely change your plan partway through. That does not mean the planning process was a failure. It just means that you planned something based on something that wasn't going to work or that didn't work out. And so you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to change. And the faster you can pivot and change and try new things, test new things, the more flexible you can be, the more likely it is that you're going to reach your goal on the original timeline, even if it's not following the original path. And so if you decide like, okay, I want to achieve these things, and you are flexible about it, and you're constantly taking action, you are going to help yourself get there, right? Okay, and then the last one tends to be more about interpersonal reaction or interactions. So I'm going to talk about it in that context, but then I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about it in the context of building goals. So build and maintain rapport. So rapport is when we feel connected, when we feel like, oh, we're on the same page, when we feel like we trust each other, we're in cooperation. If you're in a sales conversation and everything seems to be going well and everybody's like, yeah, that's awesome. Or if you're in some other conversation, it's that connection that you feel, that interpersonal connection that you feel, that's rapport, right? And so it is important, especially in change work, like where NLP originated and where it's kind of focused. It's important to build and maintain rapport. What I will say is, yes, that's critically important across the board for, marketers, like whatever you are, like as a professional trying to grow, trying to succeed, trying to, build your business, whatever it is, right? That's important. And one critically important thing that's kind of missed in that definition that is very consistent with what it takes to succeed internally and externally, like personally, is that you need to build and maintain rapport with yourself. You need to build and maintain rapport with yourself. This is where you trust yourself. This is where you are on your own side. This is where you are, coaching yourself to success, not tearing yourself down. This is where you are showing up every day trying to be your best self. This is where you are just doing everything, like doing the best work possible and like being in connection with yourself, being on my own side. Like that's really kind of the best description of this. So the more you can build and maintain rapport with yourself and those around you who are working with you to achieve your goal, the more successful you will be. So a quick recap here. The 6 pillars of success. Number 1, know your outcome. Number 2, operate from a physiology and psychology of excellence. Number 3 is take action. Number 4 is use your sensory acuity. Number 5 is have behavioral flexibility. And number 6 is to build and maintain rapport. And hopefully, like, this has served as a nice recalibration for these ideas that you are familiar with. Maybe you have some new insights and perspectives as a result of going through this. Either way, I hope that it kind of points you in the right direction to achieving your biggest goals in 2022 and beyond. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I'm not even going to link you to anything with this episode besides, I don't know, anything that I might throw in the links. You might want to check them out. But I do want to say that, I try to deliver value every day for you. And I love it when you let me know by clicking that like button, by leaving comments, leaving reviews, whatever, that you're getting a ton of value out of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Or if you're not, if there's other questions that you'd like to have answered, certainly let me know. My sensory acuity is up. I pay attention. I may not always be able to respond to everything, but I do pay attention. And I have the flexibility to adapt and to find new ways to deliver value as well based on the feedback that I'm getting. So I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And I look forward to catching you again with your next big breakthrough.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.